heard people claim that they don't think in anything but words, in like spoken language. Like they have an inner monologue that is just always going, and they claim not to think in any more abstract terms. And I think that's strange. I think that's hard to fathom because my personal thought process is pretty complicated, but it's kind of hard to describe. But like it definitely has like sort of an inner monologue. Like I definitely kind of like talk to myself sometimes, or like maybe like half the time or something. But then I also have a lot of thoughts that are far more abstract, and like sometimes it's sometimes it's imagery, sometimes it's it's beyond I think just like simple description. I mean, that's what I consider like pure thought to be, would be just sort of an understanding, a notion, like a comprehension, and like a combination of what could be roughly described as different senses and sensations, but at the same time that's not really what it is. That's just a way to approximate what it feels like inside one's own brain. And also, like people who claim that they only think in words and like literally every thought, I've read this. I've never encountered anyone in real life who claims this, but I've seen this online, and I've read people saying this, saying that they only it's just like a constant inner monologue, and that's all that that's the only way they think. And that just seems so strange to me. Like, how can you not have more abstract thoughts? How can and so the specific thing I want to ask is that if anyone out there matches that description, if anyone else kind of like feels like they think that way, then I'm wondering, because don't we all have instances where we have to think about how to express the breadth and complexity of what we're thinking about inside? We have to sort of think like consider the word. We have to kind of like reach for the word. We have to really think about like, how do I express this really complex, nebulous idea in a way that the way that conveys it, because the language is such an imprecise, clumsy sort of thing. Ultimately, in terms of, it's the best option most of us have for expressing thoughts to one another. It's essential in that way, but and it does a pretty good job. But it's also imprecise, and it's it's very imperfect. It's just it's like we're trying to get across what we're really thinking to another human being, but we can only approximate it. So when you struggle for a word, when you struggle for a way to express your innermost thoughts, that can't possibly be language.